This is Dana from Zero to Income. Welcome to this video on leads, how do leads work inside brilliant directories. And I think there's confusion that requires some clarity. And there's some places inside brilliant directories to control leads, about two or three different places. And you need to understand where they are and how they operate. So let's dig into this. Let's lay some groundwork with, first of all, what we're talking about when it comes to direct leads versus indirect leads. We need to understand what that means first. So I've got this flow diagram here, and you can take a look at this, but basically there's a lead form, and where that lead form exists on your website will determine whether that is a direct lead or an indirect lead. So there's a form to fill out on your Brilliant Directories website. The first question you need to ask is the page associated with a member? If it is associated with a member, that's a direct lead. That's going straight to them. And if it's not associated with a member, then that's an indirect lead. That's basically coming to you to automate where that's going to go next. Okay, so those are the two types of leads. So let's take a look actually inside loghome.net, and I'll show you where these forms are, and you can ask those questions yourself. So if I go to loghome.net and I scroll down to this lead form right here, free, get connected with an expert today. This is a lead form. Now you tell me, is this associated with a member's listing? No. That means it's an indirect lead. So let's come up here and let's look at Cozy Log Homes. If I click on Cozy Log Homes and I click send a message, and the leads form says contact Cozy Log Homes LLC. Is that a lead form that's associated directly with a member of loghome.net? Yes. So this is a direct lead. Okay. Let's go back one page and we see we're still on their listing. Off here to the right, we have this other lead form. Is this associated with Cozy Log Homes? Yes, right here. So again, this is still a direct lead. Let me give you an example of an article or a video post. Let's go to videos. And I've got this video right here. Is this video associated with a member of loghome.net? Yes, posted by Log Masters Restoration. If I click contact member, is this a direct or an indirect lead form? It's direct because it says contact Log Masters Restoration. Okay, good. We understand that. Let me click out of this. Let's go back to articles and let's go find an article from, this is an article from Log Masters Restorations. Again, this lead form right here, is this a direct or indirect lead form? It's direct. If I click on, let's see, if I scroll down on this and I click this contact member, is that direct or indirect? It's direct. Okay, so direct and indirect leads, that's the first level. That's the first layer you need to be able to sift out in your mind. This lead form is this lead form right here. If you go to Toolbox, Form Manager, and you type in the search, type in match right here, this is the lead form I'm using right here. This, every place that we have the form that they're going to fill that form out, that's this form. Okay, it's one form, it's one ring to rule them all. It's one form to rule them all. So you only have to edit one form, and both, any place you use this for direct leads or indirect leads, it's the same form. Okay, so when we go to the home page, this form right here, guess what? That's this short code. And when we go to a member page, this form right here, It's the same form. It's the same get match form. Okay. Sean and I are considering really jumping deep into the directory website space. What does this mean for you and how could this benefit you? Well, this could benefit you because when we do this, if you want to go deep and you would like to have live calls to go over different issues with your directory websites and help plan them better and help ensure that your directory website is going to be successful, then we can help. And we can give you our experience, our knowledge in this field, and help get the blockades out of the way so that your directory website can be successful. If you're interested in that, let us know. Just put in the comments, hey, I'm in and I want to learn more. When the time comes, we'll reach out to you all and let you know when that product goes live. Let's actually go back to the drawing so we understand this. Okay, so we've got them coming in, they see a lead form, they fill out a lead form. If the page is associated with a member, treat it as a direct lead. If the page is not associated with a member, then treat it as an indirect lead. So if it's associated with a member, direct lead, not associated with a member, indirect lead. What does that even mean? And where do you even control that? Well, that's not actually controlled on the lead form itself. So if we go back here and we edit this form, this has got nothing to do with whether or not it's a direct or indirect lead. So how do we get to that information? Well, that is where it's controlled inside, and I'm gonna navigate there, but I can't. There's a page I can't show you in the process because the email addresses are going to show up for leads that have come into loghome.net, and I don't want to actually. I would just have to blur that out anyway. So where you want to find this is you go to interactions, member leads. Once you get to this page, in the right hand corner, there's going to be a lead settings drop down and an auto match workflows option. So I've clicked on the lead settings drop down and I've selected auto match workflows. This is where it's controlled. So we have the default action. And this is probably all you're going to see unless you've configured this. You're just going to have the main action. And this is the default action. Okay. So if it doesn't match any rules, this is what happens. Okay. We've got options for direct leads and indirect leads. I'm not going to go through all these options right now. I just want to show you where this is. So options for the receiving direct leads and receiving indirect leads. It's like an instruction set. So if somebody fills out the form on my homepage, we're telling it what happens if somebody fills this out. That's the indirect lead. And if they're filling it out on an actual member page right here and hit send, then that's a direct lead. So those are the two instruction sets, receiving direct leads and indirect leads. Now, one of the really powerful things inside Brilliant Directories is that you can control which listings these get associated to. So if I come in here to edit on my main action, this is just a default, some default parameters. Doesn't seem like, I mean, there's a lot of options in here, don't get me wrong, but I can't associate it with a specific plan. But when you go to this and you create another action, so I've got one here called free plan, and let me edit that and show you. And here I say, okay, if the member is free, then I want you to treat the direct and indirect leads this way. And then if the member is paid, I want you to treat it this way. You follow what I'm saying? So if they're bronze, silver, or gold, which are all paid plans. So I called this one the bronze plan. And then what I did was I selected in here that this was only applies to this plan. And it'll tell you in here if it's applied to a different action. So I can't select the things that are already on different other actions. So if they're a bronze plan, I want to treat the direct leads this way and the indirect leads this way. So you have all of this great control that the Brilliant Directory team has really taken the time to think through. And I think this is fantastic. So let's go back to the diagram for a minute. Let me explain one more thing. So we've got this right here, whether it's treated a direct lead or indirect lead. Now, how does how does this indirect lead get matched in any way to the member and be able to offer it as a paid lead? Because they can pay for these leads. If I've got my listing set up, I can say if it's an indirect lead and they fill out this form, I can do some controls and I can say, or indirect lead and go to, let me go to this form, indirect lead. So if somebody fills out this form, I can say, well, I want to limit it to going to 5 companies and the price is going to be this and all of that, right? So I can sell this lead to them, but how do they actually get matched? And this was something that I was really kind of stuck on until the Brilliant Directories team helped educate me on this, and I'm sharing this with you all. When you go to your settings, general settings, from here you go to search and look at this. Default search and lead auto match radius. So I just was thinking default search. I wasn't even thinking about this with the lead matching portion of this. So basically, if it would show up on a search for the customer, we're going to automatically match it. So what does that mean? So let's, if I was filling this out, I said, my name's Dana. I want to connect with log home maintenance. And I say, I need maintenance on my log home. I put in my email address here. I put in a phone number or whatever. I put in my postal code. This is required. So I could put that in here, say, I'm not a robot, and submit it. It's going to be 250 miles. It's going to get matched for companies within 250 miles. So the closest first to my location. And then if I've got my settings set up for, lead matching, like maybe the top 5, then that's what's going to carry over. So they're the ones that are going to get the top 5 closest would be the ones that would get the option to buy this lead. Okay. Where is that, you say? Well, that is, again, if we go to the interactions, member leads, and then go to lead settings. And this is where you're going to find that. And when you hit the lead settings drop down, you're going to have a general settings box. So we can say that it can be matched up to 20 times. Well, that's crazy too high. Let's go 5. Let's actually go. Oh, actually, we could leave that as 20 and we could say the maximum to accept it is 5. So maybe the lead can only get sold 5 times. Okay. And let's hit save. I have to navigate away from this page again because I don't want you to see, again, the leads that I already have in the system and their email addresses. So that at a very high level is how this works. Somebody fills out a lead form. It gets associated. It's either a direct lead or an indirect lead. Depending on the plan they're on is how we're going to handle that match. And that's the very high level of setting up your lead system. I hope this video helps you. By the way, Sean and I, as you know, we're affiliates with Brilliant Directories. If you are interested in Brilliant Directories and want to help support this work with what we do to help you, then we really appreciate you using the link in the description for Brilliant Directories, and you can get 30% off using our code that's in the video description. When you use that or when you go to that link, I would highly recommend just sit on it. Don't take action immediately. Stay in this kind of learning mode about brilliant, kind of stay in this learning mode about Brilliant Directories. And then when the time is right, pull the trigger because their marketing team is really good. And at some point, you're going to see a deal come into your inbox from them, and you're going to know this is the right time to take action and build my directory website.